Hi there, Ron here of Variable Play, and welcome to Open Game Night.
Open game
Open game
night.
night.
What's up,
Yeah.
everybody?
Good
Good
Hello.
evening.
evening,
I'm
world.
Denmark.
Good evening.
Good
Hello,
evening.
hello, Pose.
Yo,
Yes,
no,
to the one
please,
person
no,
viewing right now.
no.
Good evening.
That's me.
It's actually
That
we are
doesn't count,
finally
does it?
It's
we are
it's
finally
nice
back.
to know that people are actually watching. Like,
Yeah, we are finally back to our
great
original
stuff.
Time.
crowd.
Right?
Yeah.
Just one.
Hey,
Hey,
no,
someone like it.
Hey,
Hey, Corix.
hey,
there you
what's
What's
up?
go.
up, man?
Hey, Corix. You're the
Number
first in.
one.
All right, what's up? What's up?
Like first, we're doing attendance
Yeah.
here.
Still waiting
Hey,
for
hey,
the
hey,
others who were
hey, hey,
always
hey,
absent.
Ron.
Present
Hey,
and
Ron.
accounted for.
Hey, I'm
So,
actually done. Cool. Go. What
what have
happened?
you been playing?
What?
Yes.
Excited.
Good evening, everyone. So again, while we are waiting for people to join the channel, hey,
First,
well, you just
take
did,
a
Yeah,
man.
You
So,
sorry.
just
Right there.
did.
So,
so okay. Before we get started, Denmark is doing the social media thing and letting everyone know that we're live. Let's just do the quick roundtable. Ron, what have you been playing this week? I want to take
I,
these off, man. I'm going blind again.
I have been playing Commander, the
Yes.
Forgotten Realms. This is a better
Yes.
um,
Adventures in the
Oh, look
Forgotten
at
Realm.
that.
event.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and
Hmm.
Dragons for Adventure in the Forgotten Realms. So I treat it like a board game. Um,
He said, really prefacing
yeah,
this like, I
it's
am not going to play Magic seriously. It is a board game, sir.
Hi, Dan.
it is
I
Hey,
will
not
not.
Dan.
disrespecting the
No, but you
game.
know what? That's really the nice thing about pre-constructed decks. So, okay, for those of you who are watching that, we all decided that we were going to get pre-constructed decks that we would pretty much treat as fixed commander decks so that this would put us all in the same power level.
Yes.
And it's actually a
Yeah.
great idea. So, you can look at it this like how deck builders are really a contained card game that you cannot add on to it like in terms of singles. Like sure there are expansions, but like by design, it's supposed to be a contained card game. So, if you buy pre-constructed stuff and treat it that way, works just the same.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Agreed.
I did a
Or
um
you could add on to it.
I
It's a
did
trap.
a
It's a trap. I'm telling you all, it's a trap right now.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if
Oh
people got to
Come
boy.
on,
see
the
that.
beautiful smell of cardboard.
I did
What?
a
What
sleeving
do you have?
and unboxing, and
Yeah, Ron made a sleeving video.
I made a sleeving video
Hey,
for unboxing video. It was well, to me it was funny because I was trying to pull out the the commander deck
insert,
from
yeah.
the
What
top.
from the top? Okay, great. Good job, sir.
So you all just played Commander EDH
Yes.
this week.
Well,
Well, we didn't get to play
me and
together because
Ron
our
had,
schedules didn't work.
yeah, it's more of a schedule conflict, but we have been able to at least get a few rounds
All
in.
right.
Margie,
And
And
then with
so Kios same playing the same game.
yeah,
You
you're the only
mean
one who
this?
did.
come on, Denmark, one of us,
Yeah.
one
Actually,
of
yes.
us.
I have
This is
been
finally
playing.
happening. I'm finally getting you people to play Magic. Do it.
Oh,
So
it's
my
been a
rule
long
would be
time.
The power of cards compel you. The
I
power
know.
of cards.
That's why I'm staying far away from it because I
You,
know.
you,
no,
you,
no,
you,
yeah,
you.
yeah. If you don't have that restraint in customizing and adding, because yeah, I'm a little bit I don't have enough time already for the chase. Uh, plus
We
my
have
budget
Javi.
is
There's
That's
no
right. Just
chase.
send me a list, buddy.
no,
I
no,
got
but
you
it's
covered.
We've got a dealer here, Javi, the dealer.
agree, agree,
Sorry,
but
sir. I am a provider.
Enabler, more like it.
Enabler.
Call it
I
call it what you will. I make people's commander dreams come true.
That's a Commander Genie. Commander Genie right there.
but what
Say
How
that
about
one more
is
time.
a
how
little
about you?
different
Oh, yeah,
that
cool.
I just got this from the
Oh,
mail.
nice.
How many
So
Mint games are there now? Four,
Four.
this
five?
is four or no five because there's mint bid. That's the fifth one.
Oh,
So
is
so
that
So
it's
is
the
that like
new
new?
it's the new Tiny Epic.
this is
Mint
mint
something is the new
control,
Tiny
which is
Epic.
like an
Yeah.
area control. The one before this was mint co-op.
No, but you
Uh,
see, there is still a possibility of a tiny epic mint works, but there won't be a mint epic.
The
yes,
crossover.
or a
So,
minty epic.
this is still a one-sided argument.
Minty.
That the tiny epic needs to stop.
Okay, hold on. Hi Kai. Hi Jake Fabian. Hi Kai Cruz. Hi Sir Freddy.
So
People who
yeah,
liked it. They're like so give them shout out.
yeah,
Hello.
we got 10 people
Hey.
now watching us, so I'm
Alright.
sure that it's they are amongst our viewers.
Nine.
And
Nine
thank you for
having.
joining. Yeah, okay, we won't count Denmark. Fine, we never count. We never count
Ah,
Denmark. Although
He's
he,
he's the audience.
how would you been what you've been playing, Javi?
Star
Commander?
Realms
Okay,
and
cool. Thank you.
Commander.
At least it's something
Star
new.
Realms and Commander. That's about it, man.
How about you then, Mark?
Dune Imperium hit it
Ooh.
third time. And my family got better. It was like came to the point where everybody was like, "Hurry up, hurry up. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. I want to take this turn. I want to take this turn." We're just neck and
That's a
neck.
good reaction.
Yeah. The scores
It
were not
is.
far
It is
behind.
very
Yeah,
cutthroat.
that's not far from the whole "we need one more round" feeling.
my
Yeah.
my brother was like, I need just this certain type of cards and this game will be over. Hurry
That's it.
up, take your
That's it.
turn.
That is another way of saying they're hooked.
I
Because
know.
I had the exact same feeling when we were playing Dune Imperium. It's like, I just need this and this to happen, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna win. And of course, it didn't.
He was like he was pushing everybody to like take your turn, take your turn, take your turn. He was that excited because I don't know if he's excited or he's nervous if he's not gonna win or someone might steal it from him. So I think he's right there, and there were too much butterflies in his tummy that he cannot hold it, he cannot contain it.
Yeah, it's just like the move's right there, and you don't want anyone to take it. So it's just like, hurry up, like make your terrible plays. Just don't take mine.
What they're doing is they're trying to avoid looking at the space where they're
Oh
supposed
yeah,
to go. So, no, no.
Give someone an idea. Where do you want to go? No, nowhere,
But-
nowhere.
Yeah.
Dune Imperium is getting the more times I've played it recently, the more that you're really gonna want to play more of it. I find
There's a lot of replayability.
Right.
And there's quite a good depth in it. But
you can go anyway.
I don't know if you guys recently saw the Shut Up and Sit Down review of Dune Imperium. They quite kind of really went down on
I think that's their
Not-
job, right? To be the
Well,
anti
at
hype.
the,
all the
at the same
time.
time,
They
it
dissed the
may
game?
also depend who they experience the game with. So there are different factors that can be
Yeah.
taken into
but they did
consideration.
say that they played it online, and I actually haven't tried
There's a
running Dune Imperium
disconnect.
online. So maybe that's the big diff. But
Morgan was
yeah,
saying that a 3-player game will take you 3 hours online. It's too
Wow.
long.
really,
Well, that might be
No,
that. See,
okay.
that really does significantly like affect your
Yeah.
experience playing the game.
Just because
And
of
your
you trying
reviews
to-
too as well.
trying to
Yeah.
click what you're supposed to click and flip what you're supposed to flip. I think they played it on
Okay.
ETS.
Wait, we were 3 players when we learned how to play it, right?
We played it in an hour and a half.
And yeah, and
we
so and,
teach.
and that was with learning it. So
Yeah.
I would say that the online representation of this board game may not be up to the standards that it should be in right
yeah,
now.
and I think it's not fair for a game to be reviewed that sourly if you're not playing.
I'm gonna watch it
the-
after a show.
Yeah, so like bookmarking.
Do they play it well?
Rage
Plus-
I
comments.
don't know.
Rage.
I have a
don't know.
confession to make to you guys.
Yes.
and
Okay.
This is Jake's fault. I downloaded
Jake.
MTG Arena and I'm playing right now.
Oh,
Wanos!
you're playing Arena.
Wanos!
Hey, Toy.
Woohoo!
But why
Eh,
Arena? Arena goes
because I
nowhere.
know myself. I really love card flipping games, card crafting games, card strategy theorizing games. And there's this thing with me that if I know that there's an optimal deck, I'm not gonna stop
uh,
until I get all the
okay,
cards. I'm like,
okay. Just
Yeah,
I
avoid.
have to stay away from
but
cardboard.
the grind of Arena, good luck,
I,
man. I played
I don't
Arena
That's
for at least
mind.
3 months.
that's
At
fine.
least I have the fix of it.
Gabay,
I
gabay.
know, I know. I'm gonna be poor. You see all of this? If I play with you guys, this is gonna be gone. All of this.
There goes the board games. We're changing the show
I
name.
know.
Yeah, I
That's
mean
why I have to
it's
find.
happening. It's happening to me. So
Oh no.
That's why I have to
All right.
find another way to get that fix. So
That's
Welcome
fine.
to
there
the
you
new
go. That's my
age.
confession.
yeah,
It's
The
Jake's
new
fault, Jake.
age.
Thank you.
I have my opinions on Arena that I will reserve for myself. It should actually
Okay.
be on your news show, but you did feature it.
Which one?
Huh?
My new
Um,
show?
Yes, your news,
With
news,
Raheem?
news, news, news
Oh,
show.
what? We don't have a magic guy on the news. So maybe you
Hey,
can send
what's
us
up?
news. Hi, Aldrich.
Hi, Aldrich.
Hello.
In
All
a
right.
while. Yeah, well,
So,
just to touch base on that, just to give you an idea, they are creating cards that are only for Arena now, which means
All
that
right.
they are
They're
separating digital from physical. They're turning
their
into Hearthstone.
commander version. Their commander version. They're
Oh no,
starting
no,
it
not
now with
even.
Brawl.
Yeah, Brawl, Brawl.
I wanted to try that before.
It was a failure. And then the
Well,
next
it's
thing that
picking
came
up
after
now.
that was the Oathbreaker, which is another terrible idea.
So
Anyway,
before
This come
let's
from
move
heavy.
on from
we go,
Magic.
this is still a
I
board
was
game
gonna
show, and
hard
of
stop
course, Magic is
and
still
let's
part
get
of
cut
board games
over.
tabletop.
See,
So
this is how much respect I get here, people.
you have your you have your own show, and you corrupted all of us already. So that's respect for you. What
Yeah.
else?
Okay.
Insert
Next week's
evil
hobby is
laugh
ranting.
here.
Speaking of
Wait,
respect,
Keo,
All right.
Did Keo say something?
Yeah, I said next.
Oh, you missed the signal. Never mind. Fail.
All right,
Let's do it
Ron.
again.
Ron was saying something. Ron was saying something.
all right. So, speaking of respect,
Thank you, Dwayne.
Oh, okay.
let's go.
It's so
Okay.
difficult to pivot with these guys.
All right. So speaking of respect, we are, we are
can't.
talking about today. We saw. I think this was fairly recent.
Yeah, this week.
Maybe
This week.
somebody in the forums, was sort of just sharing his experience about something that soured his experience because of uh, someone who's not respecting the game. It may
Mhm.
be that they are not taking it seriously. I remember when I was younger, when my dad loves basketball, my brother is good at it. I am terrible at it, and but he would always say this Filipino phrase, especially to my brother. If he's not taking it seriously, he would say, "Oh, laro na nga, nilalaro pa,"
Okay.
which is it's kind of a interesting Filipino way of saying things that it's already a game and you're playing the game. It doesn't translate in
No,
English as
there's
as
a
good,
big
but it's
lost in
Yeah,
translation.
no,
yeah,
it's lost in translation.
but it's basically you're not respecting the game. And that's kind of where we started thinking like, so what does it mean to actually respect the game, and when
So
do
what does it
you
mean? What does it mean?
well
We're talking board games. What does it mean to respect
Exclusively
the
board
game?
games.
Nah, not really. Even fine.
So tabletop,
tabletop
when
games.
you're playing
Tabletop games.
when you're
Alright.
playing tabletop games, I think the basic definition of respecting a game is playing how it is intended to be played.
Okay. All right.
Right. That's the
So not like Javi's story of Takenoko that happened to be Takte ano to? Oh,
No, no,
that's
you
not
see,
respecting the game,
uh,
right?
Ano to,
no,
no?
no, no. That was. I would say that was unintentional.
Right,
Yes.
but to some extent, right? If
Unintentionally
you're
disrespected the game.
so respecting the game is playing it how it's supposed to be or the way it was designed.
The
Anything
way the
else?
designers and how the game was intended to be played.
All right.
Right.
And this might mean that you want to be sort of more immersed with the game. You're sort of
Mm-hmm.
taking the the game a little bit seriously, not to the point where you're so super
Hey,
overly
Jake.
competitive. It's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the requirement of it.
Squirtle.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but
Zubat, Zubat.
I think it's really when you don't take it seriously, when you're
Mm-hmm.
not paying attention, when you're, you know, flicking cubes, even if it's not a flicking game, or things in that light, that where you now say to people, bro, please respect the game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a thin line that separates, like disrespecting other players in a table and disrespecting the game. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sometimes you may actually be playing the game as intended, but the way that you are like addressing or dealing with other gamers might be at some kind of hyper aggressive level. So like we're not going to focus on that. This we want
Okay.
to focus specifically on like respecting the game. So
Or any
we
game for
may
that
we may
matter.
we may kind of gloss over and skip some of the other examples that kind of go to the latter, that
Okay.
like it's not about the player interaction.
Cool. How about you, Kyo? Before we get deeper, we do a dive into the respecting the game topic. Well, inputs
Just
on
floating
what's
over
respect
what
the game for
Javi
you.
just said. Yeah. Everyone's got their pet peeve. That's for sure. Ooh.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay. Focus, focus.
Guys, respect
all
the
right.
show.
Respect the show.
Respect my authority.
You want those
How
magic
the show was
boxes?
made.
Tune in on Sunday at 9 p.m. That's it.
Javi's Magic, Sunday Night Magic on
All right.
Sundays.
You
All right.
you were saying, Kyo?
I was saying that everyone's got their pet peeve as floating whatever what Javi was saying. This or like the owners of games have a particular expectations of how their players play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Right.
way different from how you should actually be playing. Or sometimes there are certain behaviors that even we can control, right? So it's more
Yeah.
of yeah. It's more of ex- this topic tonight is particularly about how to play a game properly. Basic idea,
Yeah. Well,
right?
sort of to add to that, and I'm not sure if this is still part of it, but it kind of introduces that aspect as well. I remember, if you guys remember that flicking game that I got, Push It, is it Push It or something like that, where it had those discs and you have to. It's kind of like Crokinole, but you just play it
Yeah,
on a
I
table
remember
surface.
I
Is that the
remember this
Warhammer
game, but
thing?
the
No,
one
no,
that
no,
just
no,
came,
no.
it just
No,
came in
no,
a
no, no, no.
bag.
It just
Yeah.
came
Came in a
back.
little cloth bag.
So we were respecting that game because we were having so much fun with it. We were having too much fun with it that the players on the side who was playing Magic the Gathering were were suddenly
Coming
invaded
over.
by
in
flying
the
bugs.
line of
Oh, okay,
fire.
okay.
So now we disrespected their game, which I think is also kind of part of it. But I think we want to also maybe tackle the different layers when you sort of when you
Right.
think you've crossed the line, when you
Can
already
I can
yeah,
I
go ahead.
input something here? For me, respecting the game will be you playing it and not trying to break the game and sour everything else, the game for everyone else.
Right.
Because sometimes it
That's
happens
true.
that you're just playing the game just so you want to find that one thing that all the rules missed that's so ambiguous
Mm-hmm.
about,
That
and you're gonna
loophole.
and you're
Right,
gonna
right,
be
right.
exploiting it, and no one can argue with you that it's wrong, and no one can say that it's right, and suddenly the whole game goes down because everybody's like, wala na, eh, ganun na eh, pangit na. So, I don't think playing the game to break it is respecting the rules. So that's
I
my
agree. I mean,
input
Agreed.
on that one.
one thing
That
that
is
comes
so
into
true.
mind with that is also like power balancing. Like take a game like Scythe, for example, that players were able to identify the optimal pairing of like your
Yeah,
leader and like what
your
industry
your faction, right,
yeah,
and
your
your
faction
second
and
board.
industry.
Mhm.
So it got to the point that they did fix it with the expansions, and like you weren't allowed to do a certain pairing. you can you can't go that far back with some other games. People have found an exploit and have
Yeah.
always been using it, but thankfully we're now in that age that they can kind of make corrections if they have to.
Hmm.
But there are games that have been missed, and when you do sit down with somebody that has really learned the ins and outs and just how to
Yeah,
poke
you're
every hole
gonna
through the rule book.
lose. Like,
Yeah,
it's
No
yeah,
game
so
is
bad.
perfect, really, and each game might
Right.
even have a flaw. And then that if that flaw actually uh, presents itself as a loophole, then okay, fine, it's not part of the game, or it is technically part of the game because it was never written properly that
Hmm.
way, and therefore is that disrespecting it? Maybe. All right.
I think that's where it's kind of difficult to gauge, but it really would be where you're playing it. So let's take the game Splendor. So when you're playing it at the normal, game table, and you suddenly do the 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 resource lock strategy, which just if the other player does not do the anti-resource lock strategy, you guys are done.
That
Um,
one's not respecting the game for me. Go on, Ron,
that
but
one
I
is not
just want to
respecting the
include that
game
one.
if you are playing casually. If it's just a game night and you're introducing
So
this
now
to
you're going
family,
another level
I
with the
know.
casual
But if,
and
for example,
okay,
you're
okay.
in a tournament,
Ah.
people would expect you to run that strategy. And if you don't, you're going to lose anyway. So you're
yeah.
also not
In
respecting the
in a
game.
tournament, it really is play to win.
Hmm.
So there is a different way that you kind of carry yourself, and the way that you would, you're not so much thinking about everyone's overall experience. You're really focused on winning.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
your mindset is in a different place in a competitive
In a
level.
sense, it's a different game altogether. It is the same rule set, but you're now playing in a different game rather than the sort of just
Yeah,
game
I
night
mean,
type of
let's
thing.
put it in a different context. That let's say you're going to play competitively in a table of people just learning the game. Bulldozing them is just going to do more damage than good. Okay,
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
All right. So
Or
before we
you just
get
introduce the game to people. No, no, don't call them yellow cubes. Those are wheat.
spices.
Those are spice.
Wait. All
And then
right.
every time you
Yellow
do that, let me
cubes.
remind you, here's the rule. Here's
You
here's the
read the
cheat
rule book.
sheet.
I didn't. So the
All
yellow
right.
cubes.
Let's press reset. Let's press reset
Okay,
and
okay, okay.
place it here. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Let's try to run a conversation. I mean, an
yes, po
episode
sir.
with all this posts
Okay, pa.
because
Sorry,
we're
po
Sorry, pa.
sir.
gonna
Sorry,
be
po sir.
answering everything else, and we might go everywhere, and people might get lost. So maybe let's
Okay.
just like try to run a course and then just go everywhere later. Okay.
This is Denmark's police authority in display.
You have to
All right.
respect that.
So we have I know this has been answered, but maybe just say it again. But why do you think we're talking about respecting the game, and why do you think respecting the game is important? I know it's obvious, but for you guys, if you're gonna place it in a statement, why do you think respecting the
Yeah.
game is really
Okay,
important?
I
May
can
I?
answer.
Okay.
I can answer
Go
that
ahead,
really
Javi.
quick. But sure, Keo, go ahead.
One word from Clint: immersion. If you if
Okay,
you
okay.
if you play a game, you want to be immersed in what this whole thing's all about. And it's good that you
Mm-hmm.
every player focuses on what it should be, the theme of it. Maybe not to the extent that you're already acting about it, but it's more like, again, as I mentioned, immersion, putting yourself in the game to help lighten
Mm-hmm.
up the mood and even make the game a little bit better than it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So for
You
me,
were saying you were gonna be
a,
saying okay.
a lot of effort went into, creating that game. Whether it's like the whole backstory, the theming, the rule books, even
Okay.
down to producing it. That
Mm-hmm.
they had an intended experience for you to have, and using the game box as a coaster or folding cards,
Oh
it is
no.
is
No,
definitely
no, no,
not
no, 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 no.
respecting it. That's why, like, a lot of effort went into getting that game where it is right now in front of you, even down to the time spent to explain how to play the game. And you might just be wasting not only your time, but the person who taught you, everyone on the table. The guy who designed the game is not even there, but he'd probably just
Mhm.
get up and leave too if he saw it get bastardized. So so like it's one of those times that you shouldn't really be thinking about yourself, that you're in a game with other people. If you're not doing this competitive, come on, other people are also trying to experience this.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
Dwayne
Uh,
Yeah.
mentioned a really good way or
it's a
sort of
good
to
point.
Yes, social
respect is a
contract,
social
agree.
contract.
That's
And when
true.
you're playing board games, depending on the context, which is why it's a challenging topic, depending on the context, if you're in a competitive environment, the social contract changes. If you're in a
Okay,
game night, it also changes. If you're in a
let's stick
family
with
game night,
game night
it also
or
changes.
Yes.
regular
Yeah,
game, not anything that's tournament
Okay, fair enough.
related. All
Mm.
right.
So let's zoom in to
I
your
wanna
typical
insert
open
also
game night.
if we've been mentioning designers and everything else and publishers. Hey, if you have time, you can check Larong Atin's episode yesterday. They were
yes.
talking about all of this, and maybe if you see that episode, you might really have respect for all the board games that you have right there. It
The,
takes a lot
The
before it
flow
reaches your
chart.
shelf.
It's the flow chart.
So
the
so
sequence
check it out.
diagram.
It was aired yesterday. It was Larong Atin. What was the topic again? Oh, how the people
People behind.
behind
Yeah.
your board game. Anyway, that was a
Yes.
plug. But so we're sticking with the
You
casual
think?
gaming,
Yeah,
right?
I think that it's more relatable than a competitive scene, because like
Not everybody's playing
it's a
competitive.
different mindset
Yes.
altogether. So
Yep.
let's put that aside and focus more on a casual game night.
Ron,
So,
Okay.
your inputs. Why is it respecting the game important?
well, respecting the game for what it was intended to be played, especially for for a game night setting, allows you to keep the same cadence and atmosphere throughout, because
Okay.
people come in and they, are already, they have some pre notion already of, oh, I saw that online, it's played like this, and they have an idea of how people will also behave. So when people are also doing the same thing, then you just progress as normal. But if you suddenly, hang on, sorry, can I see the rule book right after you attack them or you sent your troops on their area? They're gonna try to weasel their way out in some rule that they have. I've seen
I
it.
have stories.
I can't do that. Eh.
We have stories. Coco
Well,
Hut
you know what?
Yeah.
flashback.
Okay, if someone
Late
didn't
nights.
if someone didn't understand something and would like to look at the rule books, I mean that's why it's there. But
Yes.
like, to Ron's example, that there's when you're just trying to get out of a situation, like, sir, you missed your chance to do that. There are phases. Like, oh, come on.
You're gonna
Oh,
point it out to me that way? Come on, man.
hey,
Sorry, sir. Touch move, no take backs. Okay, I'll off.
hey,
Go.
That's already
maybe also part of respecting the game is you teaching it the correct way. That's why it's also important to to
Wait,
to
I
respect how
understand the
the
challenge
game
that.
game.
was
I like
written and how it
teaching
was
games
taught.
wrong intentionally.
So you can win by with the good rules? What?
No, just just to give. I like giving it a little bit more of a twist to make it relatable. Like every
No,
time I teach
it,
Crusaders, I explain it as a battle for Employee of the Month.
right. No, 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 no,
Okay.
no.
Okay,
That's not
that's
what I was going after. If that would help, sure, fine. But I mean, you also have to respect the person who designed it. That you give your best, explaining it the best way and the correct way
Okay, sure.
to
I
people who
just
are playing it, so that they could also in turn be playing it the way it was intended to be
Yes.
played,
That's
right?
right.
So
Agree.
we talked about respecting and how it's important. Now let's go the opposite side. What warrants something as disrespecting the game? What is something
um
that makes it
ta-
that
taking
would count?
taking liberties that really go against everything that, or a very big component of the game. Like take for example that a game would have like a side mechanic for like bidding or how to distribute cards and stuff. Like, oh, when you set up, you're supposed to draft the cards. Oh, forget that. We'll just randomly give everyone cards. It was designed that you're supposed to draft and kind of have a flow to how you're playing. Just
Mm-hmm.
giving people random stuff might end up in a game that has no synergy and totally taint
Mm-hmm.
the experience. So it's like, it's not, actually, there's a good question that came up related to that. Hey, it's Ron.
What is
Thanks for
happening?
joining us, Ron.
Yeah.
Hi, Simon. What
But
happened?
Doppelganger. Oh
this does
wow.
come up here. So here, this question: if playing house rules is considered disrespecting a game,
There you
Right.
so
go.
I'll
Keo?
answer this with what I was explaining. That
Okay.
basically rules are not, or the games are not perfect. You will really hit a particular point that you may not be able to make a decision. By all means, house rule it just so you can resolve and move on. But when you totally change the rules of something, even because you weren't even put in any scenario, I just don't like to shuffle, so you just take the top of the deck, then yeah, you're really totally being disrespectful to the game.
And
That
you're
Yeah.
in
Mm-hmm.
essence
If
possibly even breaking it.
Yes,
It's
there.
just
That's
that
why.
you're
Right.
not.
That's pretty much where I was leading to. Also, that it's you're giving a totally different experience as intended. So that is definitely disrespectful for me.
All right.
I
So
have something to say
Keo, when we
about
were
that.
talking about
Yeah.
this, you were gonna add something. Go on.
Yeah. Regarding house rules, how about if two people actually connive and play the game properly, but with the intention of defeating a certain someone?
That's
Yeah, no, no,
bullying.
that's right. That's really more. That's to what I was talking about earlier. That's a little bit more of respecting other players. It's
Mm,
not so much about respecting the game, but that's why that kind of stems also towards the whole competitive discussion we had
okay.
earlier. If they are playing it as it was intended, then they are respecting the game, but they may not be respecting the other players on the table.
Okay, but let's say in the scenario that I can do this, so I can help you defeat this guy because I want to win too.
Right. I mean, king making, basically.
King, yeah,
yeah.
king making.
So cake making is actually frowned upon
Hmm.
most of the time. But sometimes some games you don't have a choice. Dune Imperium is one of those where, well,
Yeah,
it's
like
just the
whatever
way to do
decision I make, it will determine which one of you wins.
it. But I think that's it's not a bad situation where king
That's
making
true.
happens. It's king making is when you guys are fighting in a four-player game, but two of them are co-op. That's very
That's
difficult.
That's
that's
different.
not respect.
King
And
making.
to
Hey,
me,
That's
I
I
yeah.
think that's not respecting the game space because that's an unfair advantage to the rest of the players who are also trying to just play and enjoy the game and try to give their best effort just as much as
Mm-hmm.
you can do. So yeah,
So okay,
they're respect the
to
people and play with
answer
the
Sir
problem
Freddy's
together.
comment, we stated earlier that
Oh no. Did we lose Denmark?
yeah, no,
Oh, there you are.
but yes. What is wrong with everything today? I think
Well,
it's the
that
battery.
was why I
Any-
had to that was why I had to call my parallel
Yeah.
Ron from a
Friends.
different
There.
Earth
Variant run.
universe. Yes, because
All right. So
I switched internet providers and then logged in and didn't
at
realize that the other one wasn't signing out. So like, oh, I'm also here
so
apparently
so
from
I was looking. I was
This
looking at the other side.
episode is going smooth.
okay. Let's try to take control of stuff.
The
We were
doppelganger
talking
came out.
about we were talking about
Focus, focus, focus.
Yeah.
respecting the
Focus.
game, and it's a different topic with respecting the people that you play with. That's what we're trying to say, and maybe one way
yes.
Yeah.
to actually further explain this is recently Javi had a game in which he wanted to kill people. No, I'm just kidding. But
What game is that?
Any game,
Do you lie
basically.
in that game? Can you
right,
Be
lie?
right.
like,
So
"Hey,
every game,
Can you
Javi
kill
will
me? Kill
always
me?
like try to kill people.
Yeah.
But for this
Sorry.
one, it was more More,
I
he
am
was more
fueled
triggered.
by endless rage. So
So, Javi,
So
maybe you
go
could
on,
help
Denmark.
us get into have this perspective on what happened, just
well,
so we have
it
this
does.
idea of respecting the game.
Yeah, so it kind of that it really is more of a competitive
Right.
side to the gaming, but it also kind of touched what we just talked about, which is like king making. So I had the opportunity to join a recent competitive magic related event, and I ended up in a table where I was able to pull off an immediate victory, but at the cost of like all of my resources, and no one had any answer to it. It should have been a win. And one player decided to sacrifice themselves just to prevent me from winning. Now, nothing in the rules say that they can't do that. But if you're coming in to play to win, it doesn't make sense for you to kill yourself. So that means that you're not looking out for yourself to win. So why did they make this decision? Because they wanted somebody else in the table to win.
Yep.
So everything still continued. The game continued, and but me particularly, I mean, from a player perspective, I didn't feel that it was respectful towards me. But it still clearly follows the rules of how a competitive game is played. So you can't necessarily fault them. They didn't do something that was it might be frowned upon, just like king making, that that it's a foul, that you shouldn't be doing that, but it's not written anywhere that you can't.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you gonna do about it? You just have to roll with the punches. But
Mm-hmm.
it does leave a sour taste in your mouth that you
Right.
wish you
No,
didn't have to
um,
experience. Now, if it would happen in a competitive, sorry, in a casual setting, it's like there is no reason for you to have to cheat. It's not like there's money involved, that kind of situation.
yes,
Yeah.
It just
it's
shows what character you have if you're going that far.
Right. That's why. I mean, if that's how much winning it means to you, then there's some things. There's some
but
things that you really need to. I don't know what would be the right word without being totally offensive, but
All right.
yeah,
So how
Go ahead. You can
reconsider
win.
your
We'll make
life
you win.
choices, sir.
so how about not calling the things that were the cubes that were they're supposed to
Oh,
be,
okay, yes.
or the things that they're supposed to be?
I
Is
definitely
that
want to discuss this.
disrespecting the game? Like
No.
in Dragon Castle, we call the shrines roofs.
Yeah.
Is that bad? Am I disrespecting the game?
No, no. Okay, you know what? I want to jump in this because this is something that I really particularly do. Like, take something like Potion Explosion. There are four components in the game that you're supposed to call like Fairy Dandruff and like Ogre Blood. And like, no one calls it that. They call them by their color. When you play Lords of Waterdeep, you don't get rogues. You get two black cubes. It's
Right.
it it, it it's really okay. It's not
Orange,
disrespecting the
white, purple,
game.
black.
Yeah, it's not
because you're not.
disrespecting the game. It's just like streamlining or simplifying it to the point that so you can focus on playing the game. If you had to stop, okay, here, like another one, let's say the crossroad system of Dead of Winter.
Mm-hmm.
If you decided to gloss over all of that text and just
That's
like give
cheating.
people the results on the end, then you're missing the point that it's supposed to tell a story. That would be
Mhm.
something disrespectful.
Immersion
But
is lost. Yes.
blah blah blah, choose A, choose B. Like, but what was the story?
What's behind the choices? Why should I
That's
even choose in the
annoying.
first place? Oh yeah.
All right.
That's
You
I
call
don't
them
think
black
I
cube.
think yeah, I think being very specific to the names of components might be a little too nitpicky. Like, I refer to currency in game as bucks. Like, okay, here, $2 for you, $2 for you. It's like, no, sir, it is gold pieces. Like, come on.
No.
Like, are we going to stop the game just so that we have to correct that?
So
All right.
to some
Currency.
people,
Cool,
to
cool.
some
Go
people,
on,
it is
Ron.
it is important to them, and I guess it goes back to the social contract where it really depends on who you're playing with. To the ones who are, let's say, um, you're playing, let's say, Magic, or you're playing card games, you wouldn't call things a stop. We'll call them as exhaust, depending on which game you're playing, because it's just,
Bowed.
although we know it's that
L5R. Bowed.
it's just that, or bow, because it is the game that you prefer
Well,
to
if they
play. And
didn't trademark the term tapped, I'm sure every one of them would say it.
maybe, maybe, but end of the day, knowing the names of the tokens, knowing the names of those are
Pieces.
quite difficult to remember.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not for everyone. But if you really really love the game and you're playing with people that also love the game, I'm sure you guys will be calling it exactly how they need to be called, which is
Mm-hmm.
totally fine.
Yeah.
But also, I think there's also a reverse in that. That don't also expect everyone to know the names of those tokens,
Right there. That's why. I
because
mean,
Yes.
it's just a little too nitpicky. So I totally agree with that point.
yeah. So
Okay.
I think to some they're not that involved or that familiar with it that they can't memorize all of the names of it. You may love the game to the point where you pretty much can recite the flavor text of things, and the other people who are just enjoying it with you may not necessarily have that same level of expertise with that game. So also
All
respect
right.
them in terms of what they would know, and they're just really trying to play the game with you.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
here,
Uh,
I'll give one last example just to set this also to just there's a reason why it's called dudes on a map. You know, it's already it's such a common term. It's like, no, sir, it's barbarians. Like, it's dudes on a map. Okay, it's just a simplification, and sometimes you have to embrace the simplification.
all right. Cool. Okay. Kyo, you might want to start answering this. This is something controversial, and it just came up with this.
Okay.
Casual gaming. You're playing,
All right.
right? With the context of what we're talking about, respecting the game. Okay. Casual gaming with casual gamers. You are playing so hard to win. Is that disrespecting the game, or is that actually respecting the game? It's somewhere in the middle because we were
You're
talking about
playing
it.
to win. Isn't that the whole point of these games in the first place? I mean, the
Right.
underlying point, right?
You're playing, but you're playing to win with do whatever it takes attitude.
Ah, that's different.
So I think
Now,
let me
yeah.
qualify that. If it's
Okay.
at the expense of others or without the expense of others.
You're playing a casual game.
Yeah, so you're playing a castle game. You're playing as hard as you could. But the question there, and for me, that line is if you are playing it at the expense of others, where they
Right.
would no longer
I
have
guess where I'm
fun.
coming from is that when you're playing with casual players, because we mentioned it earlier, you know that you've been playing this game for so long and you're good at this. Do you take it easy on them, or do you play
Okay.
hard? I think that's what I'm trying to ask.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay.
That's what she said. But
Okay.
okay, actually, Jake kind of brought it up for the answer. That here, if it's at the expense of others, that if you're giving misinformation, if you're kind of coaxing them to make a mistake, if you're exploiting a rule, you are affecting their overall experience. You can play to win, but you should also be mindful of, you know, technically terrorizing somebody in the table to the point that they're just
it's
going
not
to
respecting the game.
submit and let you win. It's not respectful to them.
All right, but for the game itself and with the other Kyo,
It's more for me like if you're with a experienced group, okay, and they don't understand what you just did, but it's within the rules. It's good to explain, okay, and explaining the rules of the game is respecting it and teaching everyone else that it's a legal move. Now, if you're playing with people who have no idea much about how the game works, but they love to play. Let's say you're introducing a new game, and all of a sudden you go all out on them and tell you, "Oh, you can do that." No, that's just low.
okay,
Okay,
there you go,
that's
there
just
you
low.
go,
Okay,
and it's not respecting it.
you're not respecting the
Here,
game. You're
here.
not respecting the people around you. Like, yeah, I won. You don't know anything. That's why we're playing with you. Isn't that the whole point? Yes. And you as a person, you should reflect on that there in a corner and don't play this guys again until you realize your mistake. A timeout.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Okay.
agree. I mean, you can really play to win, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you gotta be prepared not to be invited to play again.
Right.
You can win, but at the same time showing them that this is how you can win. So they
Okay.
all now have a good goal. Okay, let's beat the owner of the game. Usually Kyo, let's beat Kyo. All right. So now they're gonna think. You're challenging them to think, and that's a good way of teaching and teaching the game properly by way of showing them these other things that they can do in the game. Is respecting the game, and you're
Yes.
actually expanding the fact that okay, you're giving the game more credit
Mm-hmm.
that way, diba?
Yeah,
Like you're
Exactly.
very
opening
good
up
point.
avenues for them.
Yes.
Uy, pwede pala yun.
If people
Mm-hmm.
say orange cubes and white cubes, okay, fine. But when it's your turn, you say, "Could you give pass me the priest or the cleric? Which one is that? The white
Yes,
one? Oh,
that is how.
these are clerics. Yeah, they're clerics. And then don't mind if they keep on calling it white. It's okay as long as it's on your turn. You say clerics. Sure, you're teaching them.
Yep.
It sounds better as long as
Okay.
Right.
they're that kind of people, right? I mean, if
Since
they're
you
not,
brought
then
it up,
why not?
go on, but we're gonna be answering right now is how do you teach others to respect the game? And what Kio was saying
There you go.
on your turn, you call it as it is if you wanna
Yeah, so
teach
it's
them.
leading by
On your
example.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly, Javi. Leading by
Okay.
example. Every time it's your turn, you show them how it's played without being nitpicky on what they do, because you have to be more self-aware of who you're with and how you explain it properly. Again, I'm probably leading ourselves away from the focus of the game and more to the psychological part of who you're playing with.
No,
But
I think
It
it
but
counts.
connects
yeah,
quite
it's
quite
still
well,
it's still
Keo,
into the
because
context.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because talking about how
it's
do you teach
using the
others to respect
social
the game.
skills to
Ayun.
reinforce the game experience, the intended game experience.
The
So you're now
intended, yeah.
using, like people can call it like this, and let's say
Yeah.
people are busy or they're. I think Sir Freddy mentioned a while ago. I think it's quite hard to say, "Hey, please play the game the way it's expected."
Exactly.
Right,
So
right.
it's actually quite difficult to say that, but there are ways as advocates we have ways to sort of uh, are you busy? Do you have a call right now? Do you want to take that and we can take a recess first and then come back after you're
Yeah.
done? So things like that where you call their attention about them being busy on their phone, it's a way for them to sort of bring them back. Like, oh no, it's good, and they'll put it away and then they'll be part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
can also like
Agreed.
things that we do where we reinforce. Is there something that's confusing you? Do you want me to go
Mm-hmm.
over the
Mm-hmm.
rules while the others are taking their turns? Things like that, where we know when people are actually not understanding or not necessarily that into the game, then you sort of can give them cues to sort of bring them back in, and at
Uh-huh.
least
Agreed.
get them back to a space where they
I
can play
prefer
with
that
others.
approach.
Here's a
Using
tip.
cues.
Here's a pro tip. Show other people how enthusiastic you are
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
putting in a little humor on how the terms and the things work. Let's say example. Okay, what's the knight in the this game? Let's say the gray cube. You say, "Oh, your knight just get kicked out of the tavern by my cleric. Oh, what a pitiful knight." Showing them that,
Okay.
and then you laughing and giving them the idea that this thing is happening in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the experience funnier for them and more exciting, and then they'll realize and they'll catch on to your infectious way of
Right.
teaching.
Enthusiasm.
Yep,
Right.
Yeah,
yep.
exactly.
Okay. Javi, you
There
were
you
saying?
go.
No,
You were
so
saying?
I agree with what Ron was saying that pretty much it's really more on like small practices and hints. Like I don't have that kind of expectation for someone to stand up and tell people that you need to respect this game. Like no, you're not going to get the outcome you want from that. Okay, but instead that when you are teaching a game, if you do use some terminologies, if you are explaining how it's played, that you're going to do like sample turns and you're going to give people reminders that you're sort of leading them on, that you're sort of opening up options for them to choose. And yes, like what you mentioned, just throw in the terminology so they get used to also using it themselves. Like you
Right.
are really hinting towards it. You're not outright saying that like this is how you respect the game. Instead, you're just letting them experience the game, And from there you already have like this basis, and it will set expectations of how they should take their turns, how they should like continue round after round.
Mm-hmm.
So
All
you
Okay.
right.
just need the foundation, really.
Cool. So, I guess my last question is, what would be the benefits of respecting the game?
Well, you definitely get a much better outcome. I think that playing a game as intended will kind of get give people an idea if they like the game or not. That
Okay.
um, if it wasn't for them, if it was too mathy, if it was too complicated, if it was too childish or simple, like okay, they can make their own decision. But playing, teaching them and completing the game to its completion as it was intended, teaching it properly gives them the full experience. Now they can, you know, make their own judgment and proceed from there. If they had a positive experience, they may want to play other games. So you'll always get like a good result if you just respect the games and the
Mm-hmm.
players.
Cool.
And
All
I
right.
think also respecting the game in reference to its context. I think a lot of our uh, viewers at the moment are into that. That it really depends on where you're playing. If it's just a casual game night, you also have to work in that uh, space. If you're
Yeah.
in a competitive environment, you work in that space. You also can. You now have you sort of unlock different ways to respect the game, because now the game is about winning and competing and hacking the system. We're in an open in a typical game night. It's all about having the most immersive experience. I think Morgan just mentioned they played Downforce, and somebody was whenever they play the turbo car,
Here we go.
they would make the sounds. Mm. And
Broom.
yeah, sure.
So I can do it.
You don't have a sound effect for that? It's on your soundboard.
Yeah, that does its job. Thank you, KO.
Yes, yes.
But
So
yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
I think respecting the game to where it's being played allows players to enjoy it regardless of the context. If it's in a competitive, you now you're amazed at how people are circumnavigating the challenges in the competition. Um, just a quick example. Epic, the card game, I would play it casually, and we enjoy the funny nature of the 30-30 worm and all of these gigantic creatures. But there was one time that we played it in a tournament because actually the one that I mentioned, the 30-30 worm, was the
Was
prize.
surprised. Yeah.
Suddenly gloves were off. It's like they now saw a different me, and they were so weirded out. Like a 1 hour of me with one life, and they still lost. And I was like just running through their decks and like, Ron, what kind of deck did you draft? Something that will win, so I get that 30-30 because it was a different intention. But in a typical game night, if you can respect the players, respect the game, enjoy it the way it's intended, the experience will be more memorable, and you
Yeah.
get a clearer view whether you exactly what Javi said, whether you like the game or not.
Okay. All right. Kyo?
Didn't I say my piece already?
Bene- benefits
Actually,
of
you
respecting the game?
the benefits. Well, it's you put yourself in the shoes of who made it.
Mm-hmm.
You actually get a perspective of like, oh, okay, so this is how it should be enjoyed. Even though you probably have an idea that what before you bought it, you already knew how it works already, but it's different when it's already right in front of you. So playing it itself with people, or at least maybe solo, why not? You get the gist. You get that euphoria of
Mm-hmm.
understanding that this is the game I bought. I knew how it's played, but I didn't know I would get this feeling that, wow, it's better than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
And
right, right.
playing it properly makes it even much better. You're actually into the, let's say, legacy games, adventure games, story driven games. If you're not into the story, if you're not playing it properly, you just probably just bought another item for your collection. Okay, fine. But
It's
if you
just a
did enjoy
roll to resolve, and
there you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
It boils
yeah,
So
But if
down
actually,
to
you
distilled
just
it
to
can
add
mechanics.
be as
into that,
these.
we do have a comment from one of my
Mikey?
friends is that joined the show. Yeah, hi
Mm-hmm.
Mikey. So yeah, pretty much, the experience of like the world in immersion is really important. That it does let you appreciate what you are playing so much more.
Yes,
That is
because
true.
if you don't put the story, if you don't get into the story on D&D, for example, you're just rolling to resolve if your
If you
action
hit or you don't,
hit.
or you
But
dodge or you
if
don't,
you don't put context, you're just
nothing
rolling
happens.
dice. So then you would miss the point of playing a role playing game.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah, definitely.
All
what I've
right.
heard is that
How
uh,
about you, Denmark?
it's
What do you
about
think is the benefit
uh,
of?
Yes.
for everything that we've talked about. I think respecting the game is about uh, playing it. I mean, in this playing it in the spirit of the game, how it's
Mm,
supposed to be played, the
Yes.
experience that it's supposed to be teaching you or making you share. I mean, I think Jake said it correctly earlier on. It's a social activity, and you just need a game that is a tool to facilitate the social activity, and it brings out the spirit of the game. If you respect it, you play it the way it's supposed to be. You respect other people at the same time. You have that good experience, and everybody's happy, everybody's having fun. Because at the end of the day, what's more important is that everybody had fun playing the game the way it's supposed to be, and going back again and doing that adventure all
Yeah.
over, or maybe
Well said.
visiting
Well
new
said.
worlds, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I got from this one, from the
perfect.
respect the game thing. And
Yeah.
somehow, yes, it's not, you're respecting how it's made, and I think if you do that, you're also crossing over to how you treat people, and basically the whole experience. It's what it counts.
Right. Yeah. They all. That's right. There's a very thin line between all of those aspects. So I definitely agree with the points that Denmark made. Like what I mentioned a while ago, a lot of effort goes into making the game. There's also a lot of effort that goes towards actually playing the game properly and respectfully
Mm-hmm.
towards the game and the people you're playing with.
Right.
Yeah.
The overall
Yeah,
experience is what really counts. Great.
yeah.
There we
Be
Um.
go.
welcoming to people that are new to it. You
Mhm.
know, be open for the how you can get immersed. You know, support players, right? And the people that are playing in the game. I'm just missing our fourth value, regularity. I don't know how to connect it to.
What? No, just be regularly respectful.
There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
If you
Well,
continue being
be
respectful,
consistent.
you're
Be
gonna
There you go.
consistent
play
about
Thank
it.
you. Thank
regularly.
you.
You're gonna be
Yes,
playing
yes.
There's a very
regularly.
interesting question in the comments. May I?
Okay.
May I
Sure,
get
Go
sure.
ahead.
this?
Go ahead.
Dude, go
Yes,
for it,
yes.
man.
They say that respect is earned, which is true.
That's Ivan, right here, right here.
Exactly. Could you show it? There you go. How does a game earn your respect? Okay, I want to answer this by saying there are good games and there are bad games. The fact that it's in your collection.
Wait,
Okay,
wait.
okay,
Before
okay,
you go
okay.
further, before you go further, Morgan says, also respected the game. Is let's.
Ha! Debatable, sir. Debatable.
All right.
They don't. When
Okay,
it
okay,
gets to
okay.
that
Go
Okay.
back
point,
to
that
Kyoto.
means
Go
Wait,
that
back.
wait,
it
wait, wait.
doesn't deserve respect.
Okay,
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 okay.
Kyo. Just so before you might cross
Okay.
something else, I'd
Again,
let you read that one.
this is this is my opinion. This is my
All right,
perspective.
cool,
Okay,
cool,
this
cool,
is
cool, cool.
the heavy arms perspective. Okay, and that really works in both digital and analog games. Okay, there are a lot of games, and how a game for me earns my respect if after I learn it, word for word, if I actually memorized it,
Wow, that's
and
too much,
it's
bro.
no, I mean, look, the fact that I bought it,
Memorized.
well, okay, memorize the rules, at least the
Okay,
rules, the
fine, sure,
general
sure.
way of how you play. Okay, um, you give it a chance, you play it, and you still find it not at par to your expectations. You played it, you taught it to people, and yet people still don't get it.
Still fell
Even
flat.
you, it still falls flat. Then, I mean, we've been talking since a while ago that teaching it properly and being enthusiastic. But what if you yourself aren't enthusiastic about playing it? So did the game earn your respect? Maybe a little because it got your attention and you got it yourself, right? Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
Well,
saying that selling it off
I
right away means it's disrespecting it, but the fact that uh, it falls flat for you, maybe someone else would rather give its
enjoy it.
proper enjoy it. Yes,
Enjoy it.
properly. Then
And
Okay.
review.
respect it the correct
Fair
Okay.
way.
You
enough.
know the phrase that they have where in order for you to get respect, you have to give respect first,
That's what
and it's
I've
kind
always
of
Let's do
the
say.
same.
yes.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for games. That's kind of what you did first, right? That you respected the game by first trying to learn it and
Yes.
trying to play it the way it's intended. And then after playing and it didn't work, well, you don't have to necessarily disrespect it. You can just have somebody else try to see if it works for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, there's different layers to it. Like, I want to go back to one example. Let's just say, like, I'm going to go back to Scythe. So, I've played Scythe, and I feel like I respect the game, but there are people that have played it more than me, just like
Uh-huh.
Denmark, for example, that is familiar with the names of the factions, that they've already gone one step further of their appreciation of the game. So like it's much more, it's a higher degree than what mine would be. So I think that that is also the game earning its players respects, that they really appreciate it more, that they really learn about the little ins and outs, especially something down to like the factions and industry names.
Okay. So
Yep.
it earns your respect if you want to play it or it gave you a good time.
Yeah, that mean that you enjoyed it and that you played it again and you wanted to learn more about it, and then
Mm.
just those little bits of information that you felt were important to your experience, and you start incorporating it more and more.
All right. Cool.
All right,
All
cool.
right.
Mm.
Oh my
So
gosh. I never knew this
Oh,
topic would reach that
this
way.
is hilarious. Wait, sorry.
yes,
Uh,
Because at
sure.
the end of the day,
I
games are just stuff.
Thank you,
yeah,
Desky.
Just things.
yes.
That's
Agree,
another
agree.
perspective.
But I think
Okay.
simply playing them for what they need to be played at how it was intended. I think that's already more than enough um, way to be able to respect the designer, respect the people behind the game, and give it a chance for it to be able to be played well. People can then gauge whether they would enjoy it or not.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay, wait, before we go, we would like to remind you of our schedule this week. As you know, we are now a network and we would like to promote our other shows. Maybe it might interest you and maybe you might support them also. So, yesterday, I know it's over, but you can go to our page and watch it. But yesterday was Larong Atin with the Larong Ating guys where they talk about people behind the boxes. Like we were saying earlier, you want to know how your board game got to your shelf? Watch that episode. Okay? There's a lot. And I mean a lot. You need a flow chart for it. Okay? Just so you find out
A
how
sequence
it got
diagram.
to your how it got to your um,
Yeah.
shelf.
To your
Okay.
shelf.
There
Yes.
really
To your
there
table.
really are a lot of people behind the games that you have in your collections.
And on Friday at 9 p.m., Dan from Monkey Plays will teach how to play Flux, the Marvel Edition.
Ooh.
If you're interested and it looks nice, the Flux Marvel Edition really looks nice. You can
Marvel.
catch it here on Variable Play or Monkey Plays on FB and YouTube. Okay, on her channel. Saturday will be the part 4 of Soy's board gaming
Soy
history in
Yeah,
Pinoy
Philippines.
hey.
people.
Part
Okay, Pinoy
4.
Meeple, part 4, Saturday at 12 midnight. That's what I saw, right? 12
Yes.
midnight?
Could I say that a board game never insulted me?
A board game has insulted me, so
All right. And on Sunday, if you want to get fit, you can join Ron with
yeah.
Gabay at 8 a.m. with Just Brawling, where they combine
Yeah.
exercise and board games. If you're interested on how that works, tune in Sunday morning at 8 a.m.
If you've ever wanted to torture yourself while playing board games that you love.
If you ever want to see
And
Ron in a microphone breathing is heavily, then 3, 4. But you're getting fit. You're getting healthy.
Beyond ASMR, it's
Yes.
already a cry
Yes.
for
I
help.
am telling you, this is still my dream. I someday would be able to publish my game. It's called Workout Placement, where the workers are you.
No,
That's no
All
joke.
Ron.
No,
around the
That's no
gym.
no.
No, Ron.
joke.
I
No,
That's no
played
Ron.
that game.
joke.
I played that game. No. Okay.
Don't create the next century spice. No.
No, but it's a good game. I actually enjoyed it, but I don't think it's for everyone. So
No.
on and finally, our last show for this week is on Sunday at 9 p.m. with Javi. Sunday Night
Yes.
Magic
With some
episode.
Sunday Night Magic.
What would you be talking about?
So I'm continuing my series of commander recommendations. So we're done with red white for Boros and Lorehold. And last week we did black blue, which is Demir. So I'm still kind of weighing between which
Blue,
color pairings I'd
blue,
like to
green,
do.
blue,
Actually,
green,
yes, I
blue,
was
green,
considering
blue, green.
Simic or Izzet, which is red blue, also known now as Prismari. So they go by so many nicknames, but yeah, it might be Simic or it might be the Izzet.
Blue, green. Call it
So
the
if
herd.
you're
Mystic Snake.
interested with Commander or Magic in general, tune in on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Other than that,
Alrighty.
we have your
Yeah,
regular shows
Sunday
on
Night
Thursday at
Magic.
9:30. So
I can already
you
imagine Ron
can
already. 4, 5, help me.
you can find and you can see it on YouTube, Variable Play, or Facebook, Variable Play. You can watch all those shows and
Yeah.
in their respective channels. All right, Ron.
All right.
Yeah, take
So
us away.
thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I hope this was an interesting topic. I think everybody was very involved. Uh, please stay safe. I know we're gonna go into a lockdown again, or we're already in a lockdown again.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that reminder.
So, but more importantly, please keep safe with your families. Let's all just meet online. Let's play more games, play solo games.
Play
Those
more
are
old
a big
games.
option now. But yeah, pretty much let's play more games and share the gaming hobby to more people. Until next time,
And
everyone.
respect the
Yeah.
game.
Like,
Respect the
share,
game.
subscribe. Do it.
Bye.
Keep gaming.
Bye.